Welcome back. This is going to be the part where I add the characters. So there's not a lot of height and then a lot of space for me to add big detailed characters. And I'm kind of thankful for that. Not that I was sort of planning it to. I kind of felt as the scene was developing and I kind of felt like this could use some soldiers. They're all dressed in the correct uniform and everything else. I'm moving the guy around. I just moved him around to see how he would fit in different backgrounds. So there's obviously adjustments that I need to make. I spam them around and I kind of feel like I don't want to overdo it again, like with the banners, but I feel that they're really great for filling in spaces that are, you know, empty. So I just take them and I copy them around until I'm happy. In this case, just take this guy and I bring all the tones down again. I remove all the highlights because it's in the shadow. I think I might add a little bit of the occlusion around his foot or feet, but so drawing horses, it's something that I'm not yet very capable of. It started looking like a donkey, then it turned into a dog, and fortunately now it's closer to a horse than any of those previous two, so I'm happy. I was happy with what I got. Of course, it still doesn't have a mane or a tail, and that's not helpful. I duplicate it around, and what I have to make sure is that if I flip it, it has to match the light. So in this case, this one is really under strong highlights from the sun, but only half of the body. The other half is in shadow, so I kind of wanted to do that. This one is in full lightness. Add the mane there and the tail. Add the shadow on the ground. That helps sit the horse's foot or feet on the ground as well. And also use the highlights to do the knees, because it's really helpful to make those sort of horse-leg shaped knees. I'm picking colors from the scene. First I darken the horse, and I'm picking colors from the scene to find a good tone for a darker horse, because I want to do basically a carriage. So I just take all of those elements from the horse, the saddle, and the it's not a blanket, I don't know the name. I'm also trying to do a Shire horse because I've been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2, and I wanted to get that sort of workhorse kind of look, the really thick legs and really thick bottom legs, big, bulky, slow but strong kind of horse. And I kind of do it, but it's a tiny horse. It's going to be difficult for me to do anything else other than that. So I do the carriage first. And now I'm sort of occluding the wheel behind those bushes because I don't want to bother moving the bushes now. And now I want to create some stuff to put in. And the simplest way is to do barrels. Now I always thought I'm going to do one barrel and then I pull it in. But then I feel like maybe I could do three. And then I just start overlaying them. And the problem with putting stuff together is that you can't just use the basic shading. Now you have to cast shadows in between them, and you also have to do ambient occlusion so that they look like they are causing a distress in the lighting of the scene. I add these details here, but especially from far, they don't look like anything. So I just start creating that sort of random shapes that feel like they come from off the screen. And if they're good enough to break that surface there, then it's nice. Now, this is an addition that I made because while I was working with this, my daughter came into the office and said that this was really nice, which was nice of her to say, but she said it missed flowers. So I just thought of adding some flowers, and eventually she will see it and think it looks better. Also, the bridge wasn't safe, so I just added those railings, and those are basically copied from the silhouette of the bridge up into a shape that then works in the same perspective and has the same shape. Also copying some of these flowers over to the sides, and the idea here is that I'll be able to sort of make some surfaces more interesting where there weren't any. Again, I'm using the trick of bringing all the colors down on the trees, the tree leaves, to make it darker. So I'm just taking the highlights and then I'm basically making everything one step darker within my palette. And that way I can sort of push it back to the background, keeping the texture but not fighting over the depth, so that the depth is kept. Also, I copy this trunk because that part was still a little empty. I copied the trunk. And at this point, I'm fairly happy with what I got. It's a matter of cleaning up some of the outlines, and I'm testing out whether or not I'll be able to do animation, because I'm considering animation, but I'm just not sure if I have the layers for it, if I have the elements for it, and the time for it. I ended up doing animation that is very sort of loopable. Here you can see a great example of dynamic line thickness just by using different shades. I kind of suggest that these lines have different thickness, but they're really just one line of 1 pixel thickness with different colors in the line. There you go. I added the ambient occlusion on the guy and the tree just because it looks more interesting, and I'm also trying to break this transition here a little bit more because it's still something that I'm not happy at from the beginning. I add the barrels inside, but again, now they're in shadow, they can't have highlights, and they're going to cause ambient occlusion on each other, so I have to add more shadow. To end it up, I just thought they probably would have a fire inside for cooking, maybe, and that allowed me to do those reflection rim lights on the stones, and I was really happy because that is a tiny, tiny detail, but I really liked it. So this is what it looked like in the end. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.